Hello again, School District of Washington staff, and welcome to the final installment of our Google Classroom Introductory Tutorial Series. We will offer successive tutorials for some of Classroom's more advanced features later on, but this is the sixth and final step in establishing Google Classroom initially. We're going to take a look now at creating and asking questions. Classroom contains a feature that allows for quick checks with students. By using this questions feature, as it is named, the teacher can conduct formative assessments, deploy surveys, provide exit tickets, or facilitate discussions. The questions interface works much like the assignment creation tool, and student responses can even be graded. In this phase, we're going to learn about creating and asking questions, as well as how to review and analyze the data garnered from student responses. So let's get started. As we've been doing, we'll click on Classwork at the top of our classroom page. We'll choose Create, and you'll see the middle option is Question. We'll choose that, and we will put our question into the question blank. We have an instructions field below, as we've become accustomed to seeing. My question asks students to reflect after completing a survey about bullying and reading an article about cyberbullying. As such, it's open-ended, so I'm going to leave this as a short answer question, but depending on the question, I could change this to a multiple choice and add options down below, much like you might be used to with a Google form. So short answer or multiple choice are the two options that are available there. Down below, you'll see the Add and Create buttons that we've seen before. Google Drive, Link, File, and YouTube. This would be good for supplemental materials. As I mentioned a second ago, my students in this question were required to complete a survey and read an article. I could very easily have linked those items right here as resources, and the students would have seen the question and the resources all in the same space, the same post. It would have just been a little bit quicker for them if I did that. If I didn't have my materials yet, especially the survey, for example, I could click Create and I could do Forms, and it would launch Google Forms, and I could make my survey, and then it would appear. So the same tools we had with materials and assignments are right there. If you move to the right-hand side of your screen, it's going to look familiar compared to the previous tutorials. We can choose which classes will receive the question. We can choose which students will receive the question. We can adjust the point value if we want to grade it, or we can choose ungraded. We can give it a due date and time. We can choose a topic under which we can nest our question. The difference on this platform is you'll see down beneath that you have two checkboxes. The first reads, students can reply to each other. If you enable this feature, your student responses become public. Their classmates can see what they have responded, and this may not be appropriate depending on the question. It might be a situation where the response contains some information they didn't want shared, or it could be a situation where you're asking the question as an assessment and you don't want students to be able to see other responses. So you can enable or disable this per question. The final box, students can edit answer, means exactly what it says. Students have the ability to go back on their classroom interface and change their response. Please know that students replying to each other on Classroom does not take on the appearance of what we would call a traditional discussion thread. We're used to seeing a post on social media or another website where the initial post appears and then comments are nested below. Classroom does not appear in that linear fashion with this, so it's not ideal always for the discussion thread type questions, but it is conducive to students replying to each other individually. In the upper right corner, we have our Ask button. We can ask our question now, schedule it, save a draft, or discard a draft, just like we did with our assignment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and click Ask, and the question is now visible on the classwork page. Here it is right here. If I click to expand it, you'll notice it appears much like the assignment did in the previous tutorial, where I have the question, I have numbers that indicate how many have been turned in, how many have been assigned but not turned in. Just as before, I can access my student responses by clicking on View Question or on one of the numbers we just talked about. I'll come to this screen and you'll see that the question appears at the top, and then I have each student that will appear here. One difference is that in the previous tutorial with assignments, we saw thumbnails of each student's document that contain their work. In the questions interface, it's going to be a vertical list. So I have my student named Lumen System here. Their response would appear right under their name. The next student would appear and their response would appear right under their name, and so forth. So it's just a little bit of a different look, but you can take a look at your student responses that way, and it's a quick, easy way to look at them and then pop over here on the left side and offer a grade if we chose to do that. I had selected ungraded, but if I wanted to make that change and make that worth 10 points, I can do that, and now I will have the ability to give my student a grade just like we did with responses, and then I can return their work to them just like we did with the responses to their assignments. So that's a quick overview of questions in Google Classroom. A really, really effective, quick, and easy way to check in with your students about a particular topic. That's going to wrap up our initial tutorial series. Stay tuned for later tutorials to take a deeper look at some of the awesome features Google Classroom has to offer. Thanks for tuning in, and please let us know if we can help you out at all with using Google Classroom to facilitate your courses. Have a great day. Thank you.